Ravens training camp rolls on. Welcome into this edition of Ravens Rundown. Powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We are going to catch up to speed with the latest takeaways from Ravens training camp so far. I got 5 things that you need to know. We'll get to coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, a little challenge to the flock out there. Ravens' first preseason game, just over a week plus away. I want to see, can we get to 17,500 subscribers on the channel before kickoff? We are just a little less than 500 away from reaching that next milestone. For watch parties, daily news and rumors, live shows, interactive Q&A mailbags, breaking news, and more, we are your one-stop shop for all things Baltimore Ravens. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/RavensTV, and you'll be glad you did. Let's start with Rashod Bateman. And Rashod Bateman, he's stacking days, he's stacking pennies, he's doing it all here at the start of Ravens training camp. And for Ravens fans, this is music to your ears, as we have talked a lot throughout this offseason that there's not a more important offseason than Rashod Bateman. And you look at the pressure that he's under, right? Assuming the number 2 wide receiver role after the departure of OBJ and some real question marks in this Ravens receiving core. A new contract for Rashod Bateman. He really needs to step up. And so far what we've seen over the last few days, Rashod Bateman has looked the part. And in fact, he's looked like the best wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens in the first few days of training camp. Granted, Lamar Jackson, of course, with the illness and everything, was gone, so that certainly changes things. But even with that said, credit where credit's due for Rashod Bateman for stepping up. John Harbaugh had the following to say on Rashod Bateman. Rashod has been working to make those plays, to see him come out here and make those catches. Those are great catches. That's what we expect from Rashod Bateman. He's expected to be a top receiver in the league for us. That's what we're planning on. There you have it from John Harbaugh there. Love it from Harbaugh. I got to ask you, are you on the same page as Harbaugh? Do you believe in Rashod Bateman? It's our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats and the lowest prices, guaranteed on last-minute tickets. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater productions, and more. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Let's say you want to go to a Baltimore Orioles game. You pick the event you want to go to. Prices are listed. Then you go to your seat. See if you like the seat or not, if you can find the seat for you. They got the visuals so you can check it out for yourself. And then just like that, you are getting your tickets with all major credit card providers, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, and more. Fast, easy, simple, folks. And when you use that promo code ChatSports, we're giving you $20 off your first purchase. Save up to 60%, folks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Next up, let's talk about the offensive line. And throughout the first few days of camp, the offensive line remains a question mark and will remain a question mark for the foreseeable future. Now, the good news is that rookie Roger Rosengarten, who the Ravens selected in the second round of this year's draft, who's expected to be the starting right tackle, he's looked really good to this point. But for almost everyone else, it's been kind of a struggle of sorts. We know that this is going to take time, right? This is not going to be overnight for this offensive line. The only thing that we know for certain is that Tyler Linderbaum is going to be spectacular, right? He's one of the best centers in football. He's going to be the one that's going to be the force on this offensive line. But everything else is just kind of up for grabs, if you will. And even the left tackle spot, when you have a former All-Pro and Ronnie Stanley, I know that Ronnie's talked about this offseason that, hey, he's got a chip on his shoulder, he's got something to prove and all that. But even with that said, Ronnie Stanley's been so inconsistent, we still don't know what version we're going to get. And so far, those questions have remained throughout training camp to this point. The Ravens offensive line coach, Joe D., saying the following as far as this group looks in camp right now. I think it's going to take all care of itself each day as we always evaluate. We evaluate them, they evaluate themselves, and we just want to see how often that person can succeed. And he is exceeding more than the other guys against equal competition, referring to Roger Rosengarten, and that usually takes care of itself. Let's talk defense now. Odafe Oweh, man, it is about time. He is showing promise and looks the part of the former first-round pass rusher that the Ravens selected a few years ago. We've been waiting for his coming out party, if you will, and now Odafe Oweh has been showing up and showing out over the last few days. And for Ravens fans, you got to be excited with what you're seeing from Odafe Oweh because we've been waiting for this, right? And there was real question marks with this pass rush entering 2024 with moving on from Jadeveon Clowney and needing these guys that you've made your investments in to finally look the part and come through. And so far, Odafe Oweh has come up with some big plays. He caught the attention of his head coach, John Harbaugh. We'll show you what he had to say here in just a minute. But it's all in the steps in the right direction when it comes to Odafe Oweh at this point in time. Harbaugh's saying the following. I had to pull in the reins on him a little bit. He understands because we have to stay away from the quarterback as much as possible. We don't want to have any car crashes out there, but he's doing a good job. He's bringing it. He's pretty much been in the backfield every play. That's a good thing. I know that some people might be scared a little bit when you hear about, touching the quarterback, if you will, but I'd rather my guy be a little over-aggressive than be under-aggressive. To me, that's a really good sign of Odafe Oweh breaking through and doing a good job. Let's ask you, is this going to be the breakout season the Ravens are hoping for from Odafe Oweh? Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in, let us know. Next on our training camp takeaways, let's talk about the secondary. And the depth is very much on display for the Baltimore Ravens. And I know we told you about the nerds at Pro Football Focus, or the fake news, whatever you want to call it. I call them the nerdy fake news, who were trying to tell us that the Ravens secondary was not going to be that great, that they were too young, they were unproven and all this. And what have I told you over the last really few months here on this program? I have said that, hey, the corner room is stacked. You got maybe the best safety duo in football here. I think that this is going to be an excellent secondary room, maybe the very best in the National Football League. And so far what we've seen throughout the few days at this secondary looks so good that they're actually going to have some tough decisions to make here. You have a real battle for those outside corner spots with three guys going for it. The rookie Nate Wiggins, you got Marlon Humphrey, of course, in the mix. And then on top of that, Brandon Stevens coming off a strong year last year. And there's not even, if we're going to be honest with you folks, roster spots are going to be up for grabs here. When you look at just the guys that are competing, the depth on this, there's not even enough room for everybody. They have tough decisions to make, but it's a good problem to have. And Nate Wiggins in particular, love what he's seen. He's had a good couple of days so far. Starting with this, let's show you what PressBox Online, they're reporting on what's gone on with this secondary group. They said the following. The most consistent theme from the first week of camp might have been the depth in the secondary and the ability of defensive backs to make quarterbacks pay for mistakes. With Lamar Jackson sidelined, the cornerbacks and safeties feasted on backup quarterbacks making erratic throws, and the unit got even stronger with the signing of former Pro Bowl safety Eddie Jackson. A day after signing with the Ravens, Jackson picked off a pass in the rain and essentially returned it for a touchdown. Marlon Humphrey, who said he plans to play about 10 pounds lighter than he did during an injury-plagued 2023 season, has had an outstanding start to camp. He had a pair of interceptions in practice twice and was around the ball all week. Kyle Hamilton looks like a game-changing Swiss Army knife with the way the Ravens will use him. And that's the term we've talked about on here too, about Kyle Hamilton, of being that Swiss Army knife and having a real chance to potentially be the Defensive Player of the Year this year in the NFL. Last on our training camp takeaways so far, a bit of a slow start for Zay Flowers at this point. And it comes with a caveat, right? Because not having Lamar there, certainly that changes things. The offense, the passing game isn't going to be the same. So I give him the benefit of the doubt on that. We know what Zay Flowers is capable of. We saw him have a very strong 2023 rookie season. I expect him to build upon that. He's going to take on a bigger role. So even though he's off to a slow start, I think you have to keep those circumstances, that thought process in mind. He's going to be okay. He'll figure it out. I would be very surprised if we're talking about a sophomore slump, if you will, for Zay Flowers here in year two. Jonas Schaefer of the Baltimore Banner had this to say on Zay Flowers. Flowers has had a relatively slow start to camp. He struggled to earn targets against the Ravens' first-string defense, especially downfield, an area he's targeted for improvement. A quiet opening week shouldn't be concerning, though, especially with Jackson back. At his first camp with the Ravens, Flowers wowed in one-on-ones, but had unproductive stretches in team drills. He still ended up being, by far, the team's most productive receiver. So, now that we've gone through all of our takeaways from Ravens training camp, who is a winner from Ravens training camp so far? Give me a name that comes to mind. Way in that comment section. Let us know what you think. For continuing Baltimore Ravens coverage, you got to subscribe. Lock us in here on the channel. We got you covered throughout the rest of training camp. We are your Ravens one-stop shop. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/RavensTV. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time.